So this is Chapter 2, Section 1, Example 2-3. And what we're going to do is go from raw data to organized data. And we're going to do some advanced techniques on this, which we're not going to cover until next section. But it's the best way to have the calculator do the work for you. So here you see the data set that we have from 2-3, and I got it all set up. Take note, I have a squiggly bracket at the beginning indicating that we're starting off a set. I then entered in all of the data, separating it with commas. I closed my squiggly bracket, I press store, STO, to get the little arrow, and I'm storing this into L1 for now. Alright, I hit enter, and then once I see that, it's filled up. By the way, the ... that lives right here at the end of the data, that means, especially after you just press a button, you can arrow over and go through your list. Alright, we now have L1. Now, what they want us to do with the data is figure out the classes, which means we have to have a class width, right? Well, right now, I don't know what's the highest and lowest. I will let it figure that out for me. So I'm clearing it out so I can see what's going on. Under stat, under calculate, actually, I'm sorry, right under stat, under edit, we have sort A, which stands for sort ascending. We also have sort D, which stands for sort descending. Alright, so it doesn't matter which one we use. I'm just going to use sort A because it's the first one on the list. Hit enter. And then my calculator says, okay, you want to sort ascending. What do you want to sort ascending to? Well, I only have one list right now, so I'm going to go second L1. I'm going to close my parentheses, although on most calculators it's unnecessary, and then hit enter, and it says, okay, your list has been sorted. So remember, this is sort A for sort ascending, and that means it's going in ascending order from lowest to the highest. So now let's look at L1. I press second 1, and then I hit enter, and now I have my list listed off. Alright, so I have 12 at the beginning, and now I want to go to the end of my list. And so I'm just going to arrow over to the end. So 12 was my minimum, and 19 is my highest. So 19 minus 12 is 7. Alright? Now, 7 is what the range is. If we take the range, we can then divide it by the number of columns we want to have, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because we want 7 classes. It just worked out that way on this problem. And remember, it's up to you how many classes you want. Alright, so if there's 7 classes and there's 7 types of numbers, that means everything is organized. Alright, so in order not to have to make the tally list and the frequency from the get-go, I'm going to go over to stat plot, and I'm going to tell it to make a histogram of my data. So second stat plot, and now you see that plot 1 is on, plot 2 and 3 are off. If I press Y equals by itself, I have stuff there and I don't want anything there, so I'm just going to clear it out. Okay, so back to my second Y equals for stat plot. I'm going to go to number 1 and hit enter, and now I can go ahead and make a histogram. The first type of graph is a dot plot. The second one is a connected dot plot. The third one is a histogram. The fourth one is box and whiskers with outliers. The next one is box and whiskers. And the third one is a cum total, I think. Anywho, I'm going to go press enter for on to turn on plot 1. Then I'm going to press down, and I'm going to move it over to histogram. Okay, I'm going to hit enter, and now it's going to ask me what I'm going to use for my list for the histogram. And it automatically feeds L1 into it, so I don't have to change anything. Otherwise, I'd go on to it and change that. And then there's this other funky thing called frequency, which we'll talk about later. Alright, so from here, I'm going to go second graph, and it is going to, oh, sorry, that brought up the table. Don't need anything there. I'm going to hit second, sorry, I'm just going to hit graph by itself with no second, and it brings up this, which is a graph, which isn't the graph I wanted. I have to adjust my window so I can see what's going on. Do you see the zoom right here? It automatically does things for me. I'm going to hit zoom, and I'm going to go down to zoom stat, which is all the way at the bottom, number 9, and hit enter. Now what I have is the histogram, which will work for my tally and my frequencies. So let's count how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Kind of an automatic thing. But if I hit trace, it tells me that my first category starts at 12 and ends at 13.166. It automatically did the width for me, but it also gives me N, which is the tally. If I press right, it tells me that my next class boundaries would have started at 13.666 and gone up until 14.333. And my tally was 3. So these are going to be a little bit different than the tallies you make in the book. And let me show you what the book has to explain. Alright, the book is using the boundaries of 0.5 up and down. The calculator was using a different calculation. It got to the same place, though, or relatively the same place. Here's the tally marks, which you notice if I turned sideways would look like the histogram, except where the information was. The frequencies, are just what we got using the histogram command. Now, doing it by paper and doing it with the calculator will give you different results, so just be aware of that. Alright, if there's questions in this video, please email me so I can answer them. I know it's also a pretty long one, but we'll make do.